This is the second episode of Beyond Left and Right, and I'm going to be talking about the thing that has really caught our attention these days, the Rafale deal. तो शुरू करते हैं। सन 2001 में इंडियन गवर्नमेंट रादर इंडियन एयरफोर्स को एक बहुत बुरा सपना आया कि अगर पाकिस्तान एंड चाइना वर टू अटैक us at the same time, we're going to get really fucked. What I mean by that is we needed at least 42 squadrons to protect our borders on east and west if there was a simultaneous attack. And we were actually falling short by 6 or 7 squadrons. What is a squadron? First things first. A squadron is a fleet of 18 to 21 planes, or sometimes 16 to 18 planes, depending on the kind of source you're referring to. But what matters is we were short then, and we raised this issue with the defense ministry. And so in 2007, after a lot of talks internally, the defense minister, AK Antony, decided that it's time we started going for a bit of jet plane shopping. And so when we declared to the world that we were actually looking for new jet planes to buy for our air force, दुनिया में हड़बड़ी मच गई because India is one of the biggest defense spenders in the world, and so anybody who got this deal would be immensely profiting from it. So we had a bunch of vendors and a bunch of countries lining up to sort of show their best stuff to us. So America was there with I think Lockheed and Boeing. Russia was there with its own line of jet planes. There was a bunch of European countries which had developed a plane called Eurofighter. There was Gripen from Sweden, and then there was this company from France called Dessault, which had its own line of planes called Rafale. And there's another YouTube channel actually called Steady IQ, which has done a beautiful analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of all these planes. You should only go and check it out. I'm going to put the link in the description. But what eventually happened was a tender was raised, and just like with all the tenders, इसमें भी वही हुआ कि जिसका प्राइस सबसे कम हो, जिसके कॉस्ट इफेक्टिवनेस सबसे ज़्यादा हो ओवर द कोर्स ऑफ टाइम, जिसकी डील सबसे अच्छी हो और जिस कंट्री से हमको बेस्ट रिलेशंस बना के रखने हो, उनके साथ वी विल गो. And eventually the deal came down to two countries and two planes. One was Rafale, the other was Eurofighter. So after it came down to the Eurofighter and the Rafale, the Indian Air Force decided to take the aeroplanes to different parts of the... I keep calling them aeroplanes, they're actually jet fighters, so sorry about that. So yeah, we kept on taking the jet fighters to different parts of the country, and just to see how well they fared in all these parts. So we took them to Leh and Ladakh to see how the planes would perform in really bad conditions in Leh and Ladakh. We took them to Rajasthan and Jaisalmer to see how they would fare in the desert regions. We also took them to Bangalore, I'm assuming to test them for really bad traffic. I don't know. But eventually it was decided that Rafale was the better plane, the better of the lot, and we needed to go with it. अच्छा, ये वाला part थोड़ा ध्यान से सुनना because this is important. So we eventually agreed to have 126 Rafales from Dassault in France, out of which 18 were to be given to India right away, and the other 108 were to be assembled in India in a place called Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Because अगर हमने इतना बड़ा टेंडर किसी कंट्री को दिया है, किसी कंपनी को दिया है, then it's only fair that we got some sort of a technical know-how from them. That's the first bit. Now there is a second bit to this, that if India, and this is a part of how the policy works, if India invests in a particular company, at least in the defense sector, a big percentage of that is also needed to be invested back into our defense sector. So if we invested, say, a few crores in Dassault, say 100 crores in Dassault, for example, for the sake of saying, then they need to start with at least 30 crores being invested back into our country. It really depends on them what they want to invest on, but it needs to be done. So that's called offsetting. And this is where things start getting a bit tricky. So it gets tricky because the offsetting money can go to any company in the country. Simple as that. I mean, it really depends. And I looked this up. It depends on Rafale, or rather Dassault, to decide which company do they invest in. And it's been made abundantly clear. I don't think there is any doubt about that. So they could have spent it anywhere. And one of the popular contenders would obviously have been Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. But that company comes with its own set of problems and red flags and a lot of bureaucracy. It took us 30 years to manufacture a Tejas. Okay. So it's not probably the most efficient thing in the world. Another part is what you have to look at is the time frame. I am already halfway through the video and the whole deal started sort of simmering and brewing in 2007, and this is already 2014. So it took a long time to sort of things to get to get materialized, to go through, for the negotiations to happen. And yes, it happens like that in big deals and big defense deals, but this was like taking a bit too long, and it was also shelved in between. Now the government changes, it goes from UPA to NDA. In 2015, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, goes to France, and he decides, and he makes an announcement rather, that we will be buying 36 Dassault planes immediately from France. 36 as opposed to the 18 that were coming immediately to India previously. And the the offsetting which was done was the tender for offsetting was given to Anil Ambani's recently formed company. So that is the first part which got everybody shocked. Like, you know what, this company is so new, and we know HAL is not the best, but there are many other companies. They could have given it to anybody else. Dassault could have put that money back into India through any other company. Why are they trying to put it through Ambani's company? So that's the first thing. Anil Ambani, to be more precise. The second thing is the cost of the planes, of single plane, really went up. When I say it went up from 5.26 billion rupees, and I've got the numbers here with me, from 5.26 billion rupees to 16.7 billion rupees. So that's like a big leap, and this is where people started. And this is the second part of the scam, as they say, कि boss ये क्या चल रहा है, मतलब एक तो तुम प्लेन भी महंगे ले रहे हो, और दूसरी चीज ये सारे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स अंबानी को क्यों मिल रहे हैं? Okay, so those are the two things, and this is what I'm going to try and sort of get into. All right. Okay, तो हर कंट्रोवर्सी के कई पहलू होते हैं, और इस कंट्रोवर्सी में जो पहला पहलू है, जो पहली बड़ी बात जो उभर के आई है, वो ये है कि इसका प्राइस अचानक से ऑलमोस्ट 3-fold कैसे बढ़ गया। और इसके बारे में कई बेटर क्वालिफाइड लोगों ने कई टिप्पणियां दी हैं, कई बार बात की है कि रफाल का प्राइस अचानक से कैसे बढ़ गया। एंड व्हाट आई हैव डन इज आई हैव जस्ट गॉन थ्रू ऑल द ब्लॉग्स, आई हैव गॉन टू मीडियम, आई हैव गॉन टू रेडिट, I have searched some official documents, and I've gone through them, and a bit of Wikipedia always helps. What eventually I'm going to try and do is sort of give you a sense of what I think happened. So the thing is, when Congress was doing this deal back in the early 2010s, first of all, it was still in the negotiation phase, so it was not really decided that it will be 5.26 billion rupees. Second, and which is the more important, it did not really, apparently did not really come with all the built-in modifications, all the built-in service, the spare parts, and all those things which you basically get every time you go and buy something new. Now that the BJP government came in and they decided to sort of take the deal forward, and when they got the final price includes a lot of things, right? It includes modifications in the plane, it includes the spare parts, it includes making it more compatible with the missiles that we have, and a lot of other things. And have you seen that show called Pimp My Ride, right? So think of it like Pimp My Rafale, something on those lines. Okay, when I say Pimp My Rafale, it actually goes deeper than just sort of, making minor modifications. My understanding is this: there's a very good chance that India might have gotten the Rafales built with nuclear capabilities, okay? And this is not something we want our neighbors to know. That's the first thing. Second, if India had them built with the nuclear capabilities, and that's why the price increased, that would mean France would get fucked. You know why? Because France is a part of the NPT, which clearly states that no country which is a part of the NPT can arm another country which is not a part of it. So there you go. I think that's one way to understand why the prices have gone up. Clearly, we would not want to fuck our friends over. That's really something, right? Okay, and now to the second part of this controversy or scam or whatever you want to call it. Why is it that Ambani's company, which was completely inexperienced given all the benefits of the offsetting, and I don't think that's the case. I've just done a bit of reading about it. I don't really think that's the case, and I'll come to that. But here's an interesting story about that. That around the time when Narendra Modi went to meet the then French premier, which was Hollande, he's French. Hollande's partner, who's an actress, was a part of a movie which was completely stalled because of the lack of funds back then. And just around the same time, Anil Ambani's company invested in that particular movie and got it moving and got the movie made. And not long after that, the Rafale deal happened, and the offsetting money was put back into Anil Ambani's company. Now, this is one version of the story, and this is obviously true, but does it mean that Anil Ambani got all the money? I don't think so. Simply because when offsetting happens, it happens between two countries. What it means is any company from that particular country, say France in this case, can invest money back into our defense sector. And which means it's not just Dassault, but any other company which is associated with Dassault, especially the companies who manufacture Dassault Rafale's engines and missile systems, any of them can come back to India and invest a certain amount in our defense sector, which means that Anil Ambani's company was not the only company which got benefited by the whole thing, and it's not completely illegal. It's not even illegal at all. A lot of companies got money pumped into them, and so he did not get all the 50% money that was being pumped back into him. These are the two things. All right. Now, all this time I was trying to explain to you the controversy which has happened, and I think I've done like a fairly okay job in trying to sort of getting you up to speed. Here's a shitty bit, here's a sad bit, here's the fuck all bit about this. We had a problem in 2001 which was boss ज़्यादा planes nahi hai. The problem has only worsened in 2018. We are about to end 2018. We are now almost 10 squadrons short. We were 7 or 8 squadrons short then. We will be having more and more fleets completely going out of service very soon, and our borders will be no safer. Okay, and I think I get a very strong feeling that the case will obviously die down. Somebody will come up with the truth, or somebody will sort of push the truth down. Whatever happens, the person who loses is the person who sort of lives on the border, because our borders will not be, they have not been safe, and they will still not be safe. And this is a big problem, because here's the thing. Now, the locus of international powers has shifted to the eastern hemisphere rather. Of all the spenders, the biggest spenders in the defense sector, of the top 5 at least, 4 of them, apart from the United States of America obviously, which is the biggest spender, the other 4 are from Asia. There's China, there's Russia, there's Saudi Arabia, and there is India. Okay, and China spends almost 4 times more on its defense as compared to India. So we are not just fighting a war, or we're not just fighting a diplomatic war, we're not just fighting a territorial war, we're not just fighting a business war, we're also fighting a war on the efficiency front. It's been 20 years almost since we sort of raised this. Even by bureaucratic standards of India, that's fucking slow. Okay. Or as that guy from Netflix Sacred Games likes to say, Desh Sankat mein hai. Thank you.